Hey, hope you guys are doing well. Edgar's from Solo Marketer here, and in this video, I want to show you how to drip course content on systeme.io and kind of explain actually what it is in short, and also when do people usually drip content, because most of the time you just kind of give the whole course, right? People buy it, they get immediate access, but there are some cases when it's better to drip the content. So yeah, first of all, what does it mean when you say you drip the content, right? So you have a course. So as you can see here, when you set up, let's say, yeah, you set up a sales page and you have to connect a course to that sales page, right? So when they buy, they get access to the course. So once you're setting that whole thing up, you have three options, right? You have full access, which is what I mentioned before. You just give them the whole course. You have partial access, which is, let's say they get like the first module out of all 8, and then the upsell is they get the whole thing. So that's another option. That's partial, where you check off which modules you give them. And then there's drip content, which essentially you give them the whole course, but in small increments. So examples would be, from my experience and from like high ticket courses and more expensive, larger courses that I've gone through, they usually do, because there's so much content. There's like, I don't know, like 12 weeks, 16 weeks of content. So what they do is, instead of just dropping everything on your head and the success rates being really low because it's just overwhelming and there's just too much stuff going on, especially for people that are just starting out. This is like their first try at whatever the niche is. It's a lot. So it's better to do usually weekly drips. So you just kind of give it to them little by little so they don't get overwhelmed, and there's some sort of a pacing and some sort of a accountability feeling as well, or responsibility that, they get the new notification email, week 2 content is here. And they're like, oh, okay, I need to do it now, instead of just like, oh, I have this avalanche of content, videos, whatever, and I'll just do them whenever I can. It's harder to self-discipline when there's 12 weeks worth of content and 100 hours of videos or whatever. So it's better to drip them in, and if it's a large course. And also, last example is, if a course starts at a specific time, let's say April 1st, the course starts, everyone starts at the same time, and you do weekly trainings as well, like live Zoom sessions or whatever, and you want people to go at the same pace. So you give everyone week 1, they go through week 1, you do your, Zoom mastermind session, whatever, and then after that they get week 2, they go through week 2, and then everyone is kind of on the same page. And also usually comes with like large courses. So that's kind of, yeah, short, not really short, but kind of a little bit of a ramble of what does it mean to drip your course content and when to actually use it. So, but once it comes to actually setting it up, there's 2 steps. We'll come back to this one in a bit. So first thing, obviously, you want to have the course, right, in the back end. So it would be under products, courses, you have your course. Here we have like a dummy course. Make this smaller. And yeah, it consists of modules. Modules have lessons, all that sort of stuff. You can have like 12 weeks and a bonus section, right? So immediately they get access to week 1 and bonuses. Then 7 days later, they get access to week 2 in addition. And then, right, you keep dripping them in. So that's what I'm going to do here. So week 1 and bonus, that's going to be immediate access, right? So it says grant access immediately. So we're going to keep that as is. That's going to be fine. But week 2, I want to give them access a week later after they purchase, just so they're done with week 1 first. We don't want them to give the whole thing. We don't want them to be overwhelmed. So with week 2, what we're going to do is we're going to go to settings for that specific lesson. Over here, settings, let's click on it. And here you can see delay, and it says delay in days. So it's going to be 7 days, right? And it's going to be 7 days after the last lesson. So in this case, if there's 2 lessons in this one, let's just duplicate one. Let's just say there's 2 lessons in week 2, right? Module 2. So in this case, you want this one to say 7 days, but this one to say 0, because these ones, like what it says here, that applies to the last lesson, not to the last module. So over here, it should say, let's go back to settings, the delay should be 0, which means this is week 1 right away, and week 2, 7 days later, and this one goes right after the previous lesson. So it's kind of to me at least, it was a little bit counterintuitive. I tried to do 7 days for both of these and then 14 days for both of these. No, it's just the amount of days after the previous lesson. So for week 3, you want to do week 3 a week later after week 2. So what you're going to do is go to settings. You're going to do delay of 7, and then you're going to click save. So instead of 14 days after whatever, when the course was launched, this is relative to the last lesson, not relative to when they purchased the course. So this is kind of tricky. And yeah, and you can do it like this with 7 days. And also another example, which I forgot to mention, you can do challenges, which is, let's say I do like a 7-day challenge as well, right? So instead of weekly, I do 7 days. So they get day 1 immediately. And then the next day, 1 day delay, they get day 2, then 1 day delay, they get day 3, and so on and so forth. So that's another way to do it. And before we move on, another thing that is it's an extra. You don't have to do it, but it's kind of nice, and it keeps people in the loop. That's kind of what I do for my 7-day challenge as well, is when you go to the ones that have the delay, you can also, you can set it up for all of them, but I do it for the ones that have a delay. You can go over here where you found settings, but you can go to create a drip access email, and you can write an email that gets sent out. Once they get access to this lesson, they also receive an email. So for example, you can introduce, that can serve as a reminder email and kind of just get people back into the loop. It's like, okay, week 2, we're going to talk about this, and, make sure to do this and click on this link and fill out this homework or do this homework or whatever, right? So this is kind of a nice thing as well. Yeah, so fill in the subject line, send your name, send your email, and then it's gonna give you the option to kind of go and write that email out, usually a really short one. But for these emails, I highly recommend it, and it's no rocket science. Just kind of tell them, hey, just to let you know, week 2 or week 3 or whatever, and this week we're going to talk about this. So make sure to go in there and do this and ask questions and all that stuff. So keep them engaged with the course instead of they kind of do week 1 and then just trail off. So this is another good thing to kind of keep up the engagement. So the success rates are higher with your students. So yeah, once you've set up all these and the emails, the optional ones, then once you have the course with the drip access set up for each lesson where it should be, you go back to funnels, and whichever funnel has the sales page that's connected to this product, right? We were here at the beginning. So let's say you want to connect this sales page to this digital course. So here, once you select the course you want to give them, once they purchase, you go drip content. And yeah, here, as I said before, you can do a specific date. If you have like a series of like 2 weeks, 3 weeks of launch emails, a whole, you're gathering people, you can do that. Or just if it's an evergreen course, just leave it as is and then do drip content and do save, and that's it. You don't have to do, on this specific part, resources part, you don't have to do anything. That's all been set up on the courses section, right? All the how many days of delaying. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Just keep in mind what the delays mean. It's not relative to when they purchased, but it's relative to the last lesson. So kind of rewatch that part if needed. I know that tripped me up a little bit at the beginning, and I know it has tripped up other people as well. But yeah, if you have any other questions, let me know in the comments below. But if not, make sure to go down in the description, check out my free funnel templates on systeme.io. No cost to you. Just basically you can get some free templates, so like lead generation, sales pages, stuff like that. And they come with like explainer videos and welcome email templates and whatnot. Go check them out on me, no charge. And yeah, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Bye.